Service Garage Doors. We are your one-stop shop for all things garage door. From garage door repair and broken spring replacement to new garage doors and openers, we do it all. We're proud to be among the highest-rated local garage door companies in all of Northwest Arkansas. Our highly trained technicians are available 24 hours a day at no extra cost to you. So if you have an emergency, call us today, 479-203-5880, or visit our website at directservicenwa.com. Don't wait days. We'll fix it now.
All right, welcome to the final Razorback basketball post-game show of the year. Oh man, yeah. Hopefully we don't get disconnected. We've got some pretty. Looks like it's maybe calmed down a little bit, but we've had some wild storms. Wind blowing pretty high. Hopefully we don't get DC disconnected. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. There's all kinds of places that are doing post-game shows now. They're everywhere. I do appreciate you guys for being here. So, yeah, show a little support. If maybe you're not a Patreon supporter, but you want to support the channel in other ways. Well, one way of doing that is liking and sharing the content. I need to learn how to drink water, apparently. All right. By the way, this does end for Discord people that are actually participating in the XP cycle event. This cycle has now come to an end. Triple XP is still on. I'm going to hand out some more XP later after this show, actually, probably immediately following. So make sure you guys are there. Listen, maybe you're on the outside of the top 30 in our rankings. Tonight is a shot to finish, and we're giving away the number one spot is going to get a really cool card. I don't know where it is. I had it right here in front of me. Where'd you go? Here it is. Number one is going to get Mason Jones. That's this cycle. That's who's going to win. Whoever finishes, who's not a mod, you can't be a moderator. Whoever wins that. So we've had quite the battle the last few days. Haas has lost his spot as the number one guy in Discord for XP. So if you want to get in on that, a brand new cycle will begin. I'll have details. I'll have details for you guys probably tonight in that Discord live show. All right. The gold chain is missing. It is missing. Where is it? It's right here in front of me. I am gonna we're gonna hand it out. Somebody's gonna get the gold chain today. All right. So stick around for that. You might be a little bit surprised. Susie Schwartz, thank you for trying. I appreciate you, Susie. Thank you so much. Thank you for trying hard. I try, Susie. That's all I could do. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you. Before we get started into that, obviously a shout out to the show sponsors, Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. They offer same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes, better than best results. Their link is provided for you down below. Or you could give them a call at 501-244-3667. By the way, that storm or whatever just rolled through here, that high wind was pulling at this door, and it held strong. That garage door held on strong. So shout out to Direct Service Overhead who installed my garage door. Same-day services. They'll come out and look at your door for free. Quality parts. Give them a call. Also, the Odd Soul Crap Bar Pizzeria on Emma Street. Maybe you're in town this weekend for the baseball game. Arkansas and Missouri to open up SEC play for the Hogs and for Missouri. Please sweep Mizzou. I mean, yeah, you want to win the series, but sweep them. Just tombstone pile drive the Tigers, please, like you did in basketball. We got to make up for what the hell happened in football somehow, some way. Is that asking too much? To sweep an SEC school? I mean, it is Mizzou. Ugh. Anyways, if you're in town, stop by the Odd Soul Craft Bar and Pizzeria. They've got you there, man. Great pies, great stuff on tap. Shout out to the staff over there. All right. It is a call-in show. I don't know, with it being like 4:30, how many people. I know some of you guys are still working. Maybe you're watching this. Listen, if you're in the restroom, I won't hold it against you if you want to call in. I just ask that you keep the camera, at your face. Okay, just keep it like, maybe neck, beard, and up. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's read chat here really quick. First time they finished under 500 with Muss. Hey, it happens, says the 1521 corner. Disappointing season. High expectations, below average results. Very well put, of course, by Unbiased Brim. Scroll up here. The gold chain goes to either Mitchell or Battle. It's pretty close. You'd be surprised who's getting the gold chain. Arkansas, I only give them out for wins. That's the only time I give them out. But I'm making an exception, and you guys stay tuned. Stay tuned. We got a caller on the line. It's Judd. It looks like he's in his car. Judd, okay. Well, actually, I'm going to let him come in. I'll let him explain himself. Judd.
Okay.
Look at you with the
what's up?
moon. What's up, man? What's up?
What do you want me to explain exactly?
What? What do I? Well, I mean, you caught a timeout in Discord.
Yeah, I kind of called Tremont Mark a dumbass.
Okay.
And then I, said the usual stuff.
Right.
So just usual. I do have some thoughts on the game if people are interested in hearing them.
I would love to hear. I'd love to hear.
So, first half was great. I'm not even gonna lie. It was a great first half. I mean, as good as I could have hoped for anyway from this team. The second half, though, I mean, I think the second half perfectly culminates every single problem that we have seen as a team this year. Just guys not working well together, lack of rebounding, teams just big bodying us. It's just stuff like that.
Oh, did we lose him? Oh, all right. I think you're muted. Can you hear me? Okay, I don't know. Well,
sorry, can you repeat that? I was getting a phone call.
Well, oh, okay. Yeah, you were muted for a second. Go on, man. Go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I had. Just didn't play well together. Didn't rebound well. Didn't defend. Just all around bad.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And see that's perfectly fine. You saying that. Appreciate it's a reasonable take. It was not good. I mean, again, perimeter defense pretty weak. Transition defense as usual weak. Many
ball security. Ball security was bad.
Ball security, yeah. Pretty easy for South Carolina to cut straight to the rim. That's been Arkansas's had a problem with that all year. Boy, someone is trying to get a hold of him. Again, if anyone wants to call in, please feel free. It is a call-in show. Yeah. Casey Hook says Muss isn't leaving. We'll pull him down there. I don't know. Judd's struggling. Yeah, so he caught a timeout in Discord because of some of the same stuff that he says every single time, and people just get tired of it. And he caught a TO. I thought maybe he would, based on our conversation in the DMs, maybe he would want to maybe give us a reasonable take. He did. Okay, so 1521 is a Bama fan. Is that what's going on? Yeah, it was a down year for Arkansas, no doubt. Down year, not a good year. I think it's an understatement. I don't think Muss should be fired. Who is asking for Muss to be fired? But it seems like he aged 10 years this season. I'm not sure he wants to stay. And if he does, despite that, it will make the situation worse. So King Command is saying that, you know what, maybe he should leave because he may not want to stay. That That doesn't strike me as I don't know, man. I think he feels like he can reset in the portal. Yeah, make sure I'm trying to get caught up in chat here. I'm just glad it's over. This is the typical response from folks. Just glad that this thing is over with. Sorry, girlfriend. Okay. All right, well, that's understandable. Tell her I'm talking sports, woman. Give me a minute, please. The gold chain is going. We're going to hand the gold chain's going somewhere tonight. So I'll get you straightened out on that here in just a second. Basketball. Jay Carpenter says basketball team mirrored the football team this year, quitters. I'm not sure I've seen a team play so much uninspiring basketball as I've seen 3 out of 4 quarters in this tournament. Isn't that wild? And yet somehow they didn't get eliminated against Vanderbilt through maybe even 2.5 quarters. Because there were moments in that half, not quarter, half. There were some moments in the first half where I felt like Arkansas was playing to actually win this damn game, and then they just felt like they let go of the rope. It was such uninspiring basketball, and I don't want to see that again next year. I mean, they were done. They checked out. It looked that way to me. I don't know. Maybe you guys think differently. It was it was just not great basketball. I mean, it's copy and paste, you know. Let's look at what South Carolina did. They shot, pretty good, right? Almost 53%, 32 of 61. Arkansas did. It looked like South Carolina was going to get hot outside. They started off, I think it was something like 50% outside, and then it just kind of fell down from there. They took some pretty bizarre shots in the second half, I thought, all things considered, given at that particular moment. 3 of 15 overall shooting is what they finish outside. That's 20%. They were not good at the free throw line, 13 to 21. That's just good enough for about 61. Technically, it's 61.9%. We'll round up and say it was 62. They didn't get a lot of bench action. Mac had a good game for them, 19 points. Colin Murray Boyles had himself a ball game, 24 points. He had 4 steals, 7 boards, 11 of 15. He had a hell of a game. 0 turnovers. If he were a Razorback, he'd be getting the gold chain, assuming Arkansas won. South Carolina is just not a good matchup for Arkansas. I mean, you guys, I told you yesterday, they're just such a well-coached team, and it's not a great matchup. I thought there for a little while when they had 3 bigs on the floor, when Arkansas had three of their, their bigger players, bigs on the floor. I think we had Graham, Mitchell, and Brazil. I thought the bigs should have been eaten. They didn't do bad. Between Mitchell and Graham, they had 26 points. That's not horrible. Mitchell was 7 for 11, 5 rebounds, 15 points, just 2 turnovers. Graham had 11 points with he was in foul trouble, 2 blocks, 4 assists for Graham. He was feeding a little bit. Graham was feeding it. It's nice to have someone down and around the paint who's not afraid to move the ball a little bit. I liked Graham's play this year, not all year. Yes, he's major sus defensively. I get it. But at times he provides that spark off the bench. Mitchell was great this year as well towards the end of the season. February on, parts of February and on, he played some fantastic basketball. He's your second leading scorer with those 15 points. Just 1 block. Arkansas had 5 blocks total. According to ESPN, South Carolina had 0. That might be wrong. Maybe not. Battle does lead the way with 20 points. Yet another 20-point game for him. 2 assists, just 3 turnovers. Not bad. I mean, he had, 4 yesterday. 7 boards. I mean, he's just active. He's active. Mark had just 2 points, 3 assists. They really locked him down pretty good. And Mark just, he was 1 for 4 overall, 0 for 1 outside. He just never looked. Again, it goes back to that bizarre chemistry. Like sometimes you just don't know what you're going to get out of a guy like Tremont Mark or Brazil for that matter. Brazil had just 8 points. He did start off 2 for 2 outside. He was 100% off his first 2 attempts, if I saw that correctly. He ends up shooting 50% once again outside. 2 for 2 at the free throw line, 8 points total. No blocks, 8 points. Graham would lead the way. Blocks, by the way. All right, we got D-Mac who wants to call in here. Boop, boop. There you go. What's up, D-Mac?
What's up? Just wanted to say, proud of the team. I think I had a question though. Do you think you're making it to the NIT?
I don't know. With the NIT, I'm not sure.
Okay, cool.
I mean,
how do you feel about the? I don't know. I'm pretty unenthused right now. I'm sure you can tell through my voice, but I don't know. I still feel good about the season, though. I don't know. I really don't know how to feel, honestly.
You feel good about the season?
I mean, I want to feel good about the people on the team.
Right.
Not necessarily the result.
Right. Yeah, the product wasn't very good.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know. I guess I was hoping for more of a drastic effort, of more desperation type of deal. I don't know.
For this game, you were?
Yeah, I guess like a controlled chaos. I feel like sometimes it gets to the point to where you need to like for instance, as an example, I have a lot of social I am in Birmingham, Alabama right now, about to play with the UAPB band. I'm about to play in the swag not the swag tournament, but I'm not gonna play the actual game, obviously. But that wasn't obvious either. Look, all I'm saying is everybody has nervous moments,
Right.
and everybody deals with them however they choose to deal with them. Like I'm walking between different people in the band right now, trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. Anyway, all I'm saying is like a person with like I feel like desire should be not coddled, or I don't know the word, but like a good coach will train or perfect a person's desire, or they'll use a person's desire to like, you know, positively benefit the entire group. So I mean, it could be an issue with the direction of the band, not the band. I said the band. Oh my Jesus, I'm looking at my band director. No, that's not what I'm saying. It could be an issue with the direction of the basketball team. I don't know, but like, I don't know. Ultimately, I do think that there might have been a certain particular need of some type of extra emotional push for them to try to make some type of dramatic.
Right.
I gotta pee. Some type of dramatic type of like impact on the game.
Yeah.
But,
no, I hear what you're saying. Hey, I got some more callers.
I do gotta go though.
All right, man. Good luck.
All right.
Good luck with your band. Appreciate your call in. Okay. Win, what's up, man? What do you got for me?
Yo, what's good, Tusk? Can you hear me, bro?
What up?
Hey, man, I've been watching your show for a little minute. This is my first time really tapping in, but hey, bro, all I can really say is thank God the season's over, bro. Like at this point, like I kid you not, bro. Like, man, I'm like 23. You know, this my like the under Musselman is the first time I've really been able to kind of be excited about basketball, and this year, you know, they kind of let us down, but. Like midway through the season, bro. Like I think when they lost, who did they lose to? The UNC team? Like you remember that? That was like in November.
Wait, what? Say that again.
It was like UNC somebody, bro. That they lost.
Oh,
it was like,
was it?
Yeah,
was it Greensboro?
It really don't even matter. But when they lost that game, bro, I was just like, yeah, this probably not the team we thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I'm glad the season over. You know, most of the guys on the team, like, you know, good luck to them. You know, salute to them. But I'm glad, you know, they out of there. Honestly, I'm not going to even hold you.
Yeah, and it was Greensboro, by the way. It was UNC Greensboro. They lost 78-72.
Yeah, so like yesterday, bro, like I was talking to my pops, like me talking about the game. Like I ain't even watch the game. I'm gonna be honest. I was just like, bro, I'm so checked out. But I know he said they had came back, and then he was like, they up 4 with like a minute left. You know, getting hyped, man. That's one thing about them Hogs, man. They gonna let you down. And he said it went to overtime. I was like, I ain't even gonna watch. They probably gonna lose, but they pulled it through somehow. But I figured the day they lose, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't like their odds. That's a tough matchup with SC, and they're just so well coached, man. They are
fact.
so well coached.
Yeah, I mean, they're having this probably one of their best years in a while. They were pretty bad, like
Yep.
I guess like 2 years ago, something like that. So I mean, good for them, man. You know, hopefully Mush stick around. Like, you know, I hope he don't leave, but you know, everybody's saying he's probably gonna leave. But I don't know. I don't know. Do you think that's really like reliable information? You know, a lot of people are saying that.
Well, I heard. I mean, we talked about it yesterday in the post game that Louisville had. The rumor was Louisville was targeting TCU's head coach, and Muss's name did not come up there. I did have Blake Level on from Southeastern 14. I don't know,
Yeah.
3 weeks ago or so, and he said that he had heard that was the case. That Louisville was very much interested in acquiring Musselman from Arkansas. Since then, I've not heard anyone say a thing. I mean, yeah, there's always people flapping their gums, but no one that I talk to has said that it's like a foregone conclusion that he's gone. But that doesn't mean that he is or that he isn't. I've said all along, we're just going to have to let it play out and see what happens. I've had a hard time buying into Louisville. I don't think currently or within the last 5 years they're on Arkansas's level, but historically, they are a really good basketball program. I think they have like 8 or 9 Final Four appearances. I think 3 tourney wins. One of them vacated.
Let's say 2. I know that last one got vacated, but they got vacated. Still won, bro. I still remember that. Like, you said what?
Yeah, it was 2015. They got vacated. That whole season, that whole run got vacated. Yeah. I think it had something to do with cocaine and prostitutes. I don't know.
Yeah, Rick Pitino, wild guy right there, man.
Wow.
But he coaching somewhere else now, but you know, it is what it is. But hopefully we can keep Musk, bro. Like Mike Anderson, he was cool, but I feel like Musk's the best coach I've seen, you know, at the helm in my 23 years of life at Arkansas. So it's kind of disappointing this year, but I still don't want him to leave because I feel like he can still do well at Arkansas, man.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. Mike Anderson. I hated to say it.
He laid the foundation. He laid the foundation, in my opinion. Like he kind of built it up for Musk to run. If that makes, that's how I view it.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. And without Mike, you don't have that. You don't have the indoor the practice facility. Mike pushed that, and Mike got that. So, hey, man, I appreciate you calling in, man.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. I've been watching you for some years, man. So I was like, man, let me hop on this, bro. Appreciate you letting me on, and look forward to the rest of the show, bro.
I appreciate you. Thanks a lot, man.
Yes, sir.
We got Unbiased Brim up next. What's going on, buddy? What'd you think?
Hello, my brother, Noomsy, my fellow older Arkansas brethren. How art thou now?
Glad it's over, like everyone else has been talking about. I'm just glad it's over.
It sums it up. I mean, South Carolina had a pretty good lunch or dinner today. They had some hog on the plate, and they ate well.
They did.
They just too big and physical, and you know, some people's like, "Oh, this pathetic," and I'm like, it's not really pathetic. It's just the rotations, and you're getting the wrong guys on the wrong guys. When you got Ellis covering Mac, that's a problem. You know, the rotations is where defensively they were really able to take advantage of us on the inside, and you know. Right now, I feel bad for Mitchell, though. That's who I feel bad the most for because he really stepped his game up to another degree, and I felt like he deserved better for his finish of his college career. You know,
I agree. I had a feeling he'd have a pretty solid night, even though South Carolina is bigger. I just felt like, you know, especially when Graham, when we saw him check into the game, I thought, well, Mitchell's going to eat. And
he just improved so much offensively. Just really nice, decisive moves. I mean, I got to talk about something positive, so that's why I'm talking about Mitchell, because he deserves his flowers for his effort. Even though, second half we got spanked, and part of the reason why we got spanked in the second half is we shouldn't have been running to the end of the shot clock and jacking up long range shots. I think when Brazil got in foul trouble, it effectively took him out of the game. He didn't have any fluidity when he came back in the second half.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry. Go ahead.
In the first half, he caught them both in the first half, pretty early.
It was about the 16-minute mark, 16:26 mark. Yeah, I got a second foul, and he started off with the 2-3. So we was like, we are up to 11-3 lead, but the rest was history. But I just see in Brazil on the court in the second half, he was stationary. He didn't do enough moving. I see the team was trying offensively, double screening and getting some movement. So again, it just wasn't the right fits, and I'm just thinking about what's next for this team, because I don't think Muss is going anywhere unless the UCLA job opens up. I just don't see Muss going anywhere, to be honest with you.
Cronin's buyout, someone was telling me,
it's crazy.
It's wild high. Like, it's one of the top 3 or 4 highest buyouts in college basketball. So I've never bought the UCLA, although I understand the frustration. I mean, it is UCLA after all, but I don't know how they afford, paying him out and then bringing in someone like Muss, who, despite the fact that his credibility took a little bit of a hit, his stock took a little bit of a hit, but overall, we know what the man did at Arkansas up until this year. So I don't know how they do that, and then also turn around and pay Muss and give him a top 5, top 8 salary. I don't know how they do that.
They had the same record as us this year, I think. Did we finish 16 and 17, right?
It was bad for sure. Yeah, they were below 500.
Yeah. So just looking at the prospects, I mean, I want to ask you, who would you want to see back from this team on the squad next year?
I do. I'm probably going to take a little bit of heat for this. I do want to see Minifield back. I do, obviously, with the portal. You never know. I want to see Bay Fall back. I want to see him back, dude. I like that dude's hustle, put a little meat on his bones. I want to see these guys develop chemistry. Blocker, obviously.
Kareem.
Battle, I don't think that's going to – I just have a feeling Battle's going to move on. And I mean, I don't know, man. Beyond that, unless I'm forgetting somebody, and I know Graham is out of eligibility if I'm not That's mistaken.
Correct. He's out of eligibility. Mm-hmm.
Mitchell, as we already talked about, he ended his career. If he had another year of eligibility, I'd love to get him back, dude. But not going to happen. He's out of eligibility. I agree with Cameron. This is pretty good right here. I mean, that's Battle, Blocker, Minifield. Did you see? Hold on, really quick. Woo Pig Pod says it's a $24 million buyout.
Yes, they ain't doing that. They'll wait a year or two before they get rid of him. That's way too high.
I knew
it
was
crazy.
High. I didn't know it was that high.
Wow. OD, that's crazy.
18. Damn.
That's big bread. That's big bread.
Yeah, they're not walking away from Cronin unless there's something there that we're missing. Yeah,
like it's a just cause or something, and I'm sure they don't have that.
Yeah, that's a good question about who. Maybe I'd like to hear your response to that, to your own question, and to chat who you guys, and if you're watching this after the fact, let me know, who do you want back, who has eligibility. I like those 3 that someone, I just had it up. I like those 3. And I do want Battle and Blocker back, and I want Minifield back. I do. He has 2 more years of eligibility. I want him back. I liked what little bit we saw from him. I think if you build a physical physical interior, a couple of decent sized physical forwards, maybe you can go out and grab another 6'11", 275 guy, grab someone with some meat and bones who plays with some physicality. I think Minifield could thrive in something like that if you had some guys that kind of help carry the load, in terms of the physicality, because that was the thing about Minifield that we kept hearing about. Well, he doesn't play physical enough, and he can't play defensively. If he had some help, some taller, lengthier guards. You know, I don't know. I'm trying my best to get him back. I want him back. I loved what we got to see, as little as we got to see it. I'd love to see him back and develop his game a little more.
All right, so if I could choose who I would want back based on eligibility and they don't go to the NBA.
Say that again.
I said if I could pick who I would want to come back, who has eligibility left,
Okay.
NBA besides Minifield, Blocker, Fall, Battle, Mark. That's it.
I'm 50-50 on Mark. And I maybe I shouldn't be. I don't know. I
understand because Mark does make some really bad passes at times, but I think if you have the other right pieces around him, he is valuable. He shouldn't be the guy. He shouldn't be your second score. He shouldn't be your first or second scorer. He's a third or fourth option as a scorer. He should be. And he plays better in that role. If he was able to play the role he played in Houston, he probably would have been a little bit better off for us. They said Minifield and Battle. So you don't want Blocker back, Matt? You're bugging on that one. I would definitely want Blocker back. But the problem is with having Minifield and Blocker, we need a shooting guard. And we'll need another physical guard with size. Because even though Layden plays hard, he's not large. Minifield and Blocker are smaller guards in regards to, the SEC guard play. And so we would need a guard that can shoot lights out and a guard that is physical. This is a 6'5" guard,
Well, how do you feel? Bumbles says that Brazil's a bust. How would you feel about getting Brazil back? Because I left him off and I shouldn't have. I think I would want Brazil back because I think he probably did play a little scared. I don't know. But then we saw him last night, how much he can affect a game. Although tonight he really didn't. I mean, he did shoot 50% outside, but that's not where we want him. We don't want him floating around the perimeter or standing around at the perimeters he was doing today. I feel like I would want Brazil back, but like it's got to come with strings attached, Like I don't want you floating around out there all the time.
I'm gonna be frank. I'm kind of good, man.
You're good. He could move on.
Good.
I think he goes no matter what, anyways.
I mean, he's missing something.
Johnny,
what happened?
Come on, bro, Johnny. That is just a silly. That's a fanatic take right there.
I mean, you're gonna have fanatics. I mean, people saying fire Muss. That's a fanatic take. Considering, we forgetting 1999 to 2018, where we won a total. Ooh, why are they revving their engine like that? I'm sorry. Hold up a second.
Are you good?
I'm good as the outside. There's somebody outside revving their engine.
All right.
We went from 1999 to 2018, winning a total of 2 tournament games, guys. All you young people out there, that's the only thing you've seen. Me and Todd's been fortunate to watch the Nets get cut down and watch consistent Final Four teams. I saw Arkansas go to the Final Four 6 times, bro. So 5 times.
5, yeah.
So,
well, yeah.
Was it 5? Todd Day and Lee Mayberry went twice.
Yeah.
4 times.
Well, no, they've been 6.
Yeah, but I think they went twice with Sutton. That was before our days.
Yeah, right. But Nolan, it took like 3 years before he finally got it kind of turned around, which is why I tell people who want to move on from us, I'm like, bro, not even Nolan, who I want a statue, by the way, outside of Bud Walton. Without him, you don't have Bud Walton Arena. You don't have the amenities and all the things that come with basketball at the University of Arkansas. But people need to realize Muss got them fired right out the gate, bro. Of course, his first year got cut short because of COVID, but I don't know, man. I mean, I'm a little bit surprised by some of the takes by some of the fanatics who want to move on.
There's a part of a reason why that's happening, though, because Musselman's deficiencies were glaring this year. They were glaring. We saw them. I knew about them, 2 years ago. I knew that he was a defensive-minded coach, wasn't really strong on offensive fluidity and structure and play set. And this year it came to a head, you know. And there's rumor mills, and I kind of believe that he's bullheaded to some degree. We there's an assistant coach, one of his assistant coaches. I think he's been taking veiled shots at Musselman for this whole year.
Yeah, had an interesting conversation with somebody not long ago about that. Yeah.
I pay attention. I try to pay attention to everything, and I think it's his way or the highway, and I think that hurts him. But it works for him too, because I think this year he tried something different. I've said that, and it just didn't work out, But he got out coached in a number of games this year.
Yeah.
And that can't be hidden. As much as I love Muss and I want him to continue to be the head coach of Arkansas, I have to still be honest about your positives and your negatives. And I said that losing Gus was going to hurt, and it hurt. I felt like Gus was probably the glue assistant.
Yeah, yeah, you're not wrong. And I think Muss does have a certain reputation, like you said, and it's not worked out well. At least for the assistants, the guys that have left. It certainly seems like most of them have been, I don't want to say like dramatic, but somewhat unseen or not thought of to happen. Like, whoa, wait a minute, he's leaving now. So we've had that happen a couple of times, and you're right. There is a certain assistant after every game is posting stuff.
CM initially.
By the way, he's still in Fayetteville. Do you know that?
I did not know that.
That's what I heard. I think he's in on one of these chicken restaurants up here. That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's true. Don't go run into the. I mean,
it is what it is. He's voicing how he feels, and everybody's entitled to that. And if you, and not everybody's going to get along, and not everybody's going to agree with particular philosophies. Yes, Chrissy, we were supposed to either be first or second in the SEC. Most of us had a second in the SEC. That's why this season is such a disappointment.
Yeah.
It actually is more of a disappointment than football, but the football team went out like bigger punks in regards to like the star power. Like we got our boots smoked in some games, but then they started, they played hard. It just did the pieces just didn't fit. They gave effort on the back end, and I said I could accept the season if they try hard to finish the season, and that's what they did. They tried hard. It just wasn't good enough,
Until today, I thought they were. I don't know, man, especially in the final about 5-6 minutes. It was even so obvious that they caught it on the broadcast. They were one team's here to win the game. The other team's just here. I don't remember the exact words, but that was kind of more or less what they were saying. I didn't like the energy in the second half. I felt like they let go of the rope.
It happened when the league got to 15. It was like 13. They were in trouble because again. Basketball is a game of momentum, and you have to slow down momentum one way or another. And they didn't slow down the momentum. And then once that momentum didn't slow down, in their mind, it's like we ain't gonna be the comeback. We're not gonna be able to do it.
Yeah, I felt like they did that as soon as because they got it down to like 6 points, and then it went from 6 to like 9 to 10 points, whatever it was, and it was like at that.
It went from 6. No, it went from 6 to 13 in a matter of a minute.
Yeah. It was quick, and it felt like at that point they were done. That was the vibe that I got. I'm gonna hand this chain out.
What do you mean? Who are you handing it out to?
I'm gonna
the South Carolina player?
No. I'm gonna hand it out to you guys, to the audience. This is your gold chain, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna wear it on your behalf. A lot of good podcasts, really good shows have popped up left and right over the last year, and I encourage you to watch them all. And obviously, I do appreciate you guys being here. But I encourage you to watch them all. That includes Woo Pig Pod. Listen, Trey Biddy's. I like Trey. We always have.
He's a legend in my eyes.
Trey's. We briefly talk at practice, not very often. There's some great Arkansas Razorback content creators, but you guys still, those of you watching this, you're choosing to watch my content along with those people, I'm assuming. And again, I encourage you to watch them all. And I know sometimes you get tired of hearing the same thing over and over. I try to give you something a little different. But I understand, again, it's part of it. It's part of the marketplace. I've been doing this for a while. And
you've been around for a clip now, man.
The growth has been great. You guys calling in, you guys being here, you guys watching this through all this nastiness that we saw through football, through basketball. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't blame anybody for tuning out all Arkansas content, and yet you guys are here. And that is who's getting this chain. This is you guys tonight. I appreciate you for being here. You're liking the content, you're sharing, your Patreon supporters, or you're super chatting, or I'm getting random PayPals every once in a while. It's incredible.
Wow.
I mean, it is absolutely incredible. So believe me, I tell people all the time, I can't believe I never thought I'd hit 1 million total views, and now we're at 3 or 4. I don't really look into numbers so much anymore. I just post and move on. But I see you guys. I see you in the chats. I know who you are. I've even had some strong disagreements with some of you, and yet you come back and you're supportive, and I do appreciate that. So again, it's the end of an ugly basketball season, and it's also kind of a wrap up too for a lot of things. But we got spring football going strong. You guys are you're still watching and consuming my content, so I do appreciate that and your support. So here's to you, to the Razorback fans, even some of you like Mr. Neal, who comes through, and he's a Mississippi State fan, but he comes through. We've got Ole Miss fans who come through and they support. This is for all you guys, but especially the Arkansas fans. I'm a little biased. What can I say? So appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for being here. All right.
I got a question for you, Tim, before you move on.
All right.
In your history of not just being a fan, but you bringing content, expectation to results, have you ever had a more disappointing year for a combination of basketball, football for Arkansas?
Are you talking about like views, or do you mean just?
No, I'm talking about the product. The product based on expectations and in results. Have we had a more disappointing combination of basketball and football in the last 20-25 years?
Oh, well, last 25 years. Well, yeah, I mean, there were some pretty rough years, but this one it stings more than most, because football was, I think most people had them at 7 and 8 wins. I had them at higher. Obviously, they fell very far, very short of that. And basketball was expected to be a Final Four caliber team, and they fell way short of that. So as far as disappointing, no, this is probably the most disappointing basketball or football to basketball transition I've ever seen. Especially
because we've had some crappy football teams, we've had some crappy basketball teams, but I think we knew where we were at that time. Or we either didn't meet expectations. Like with Anderson, we wouldn't meet expectations, but it wouldn't be it didn't hurt and hit so bad. Like I felt like we got robbed against North Carolina in the second round game. He should have actually went to a Sweet 16. I just felt like the referees had that beautiful whistle for NC. But before I go, I want to talk to the Arkansas faithful. Yep, that's a fact. You are OG in the space. You are OG. Just want you to know that you're an original gangster, original gamer.
I'm trying to go through and post these for you guys.
You are OG in this space, though, man. You are probably one of the first 2 or 3 people I watch ever for Arkansas content.
I appreciate that.
This message is for Arkansas fans, and I see this all the time on Twitter. I see Arkansas fans always posting about Missouri, right? And you do it too. You talk about Missouri, and you guys have made this a rivalry that I've never considered a rivalry. I could give a hoot nanny what is going on with Missouri unless they play us. Why do we care about a team that doesn't matter? I don't consider them a rival. They're just another team that we face. In football, I look at LSU as a team that I want to beat more. I look at Texas as a team I want to beat more. I look at Texas A&M as a team I want to beat more, even though Missouri has our number right now. But only time I care about them is when we're playing them. I don't follow. I don't. If they talk a little junk and get outlandish, then I might respond. But for the most part, why do we care about Missouri? We've let them create this manufactured rivalry that to me was never won. It's not a rivalry to me. It's just another team in the league that we face. Am I wrong here?
No, but I've got pretty thick skin, right? I mean, I see fans always flapping their gums. Other fans, I mean, there's something about Missouri. I think you could still hate a team without it being a rivalry. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I hate Missouri. I hate them. Also, you got to consider in Northwest Arkansas, it's
close.
OU and Missouri fans everywhere. And it just grinds your gears, man. When you see those bumper stickers a little bit, it just kind of makes you like, oh, the Mizzou football. I don't know. It's different. I think the closer in proximity you are to the other state within the SEC, right? I think you hate them more. Like I know people down in South Arkansas who hate LSU, especially Little Rock. Little Rock and down south of Little Rock hate LSU with a passion.
LSU was more of a rival for me. Always was, especially with the years with McFadden and all those years. I never,
I am someone who does believe that Arkansas doesn't really have a rivalry in the SEC. I've just outside of maybe LSU, Ole Miss, at least there's some history there. Missouri is 100% manufactured, and I agree with you 110%. But like you go down to the River Valley, down in Fort Smith in that area, those people despise Oklahoma, and they do up here too. So again, I think that's where that comes from.
Guess who else despises Oklahoma? You're looking at him, Boomer Sooner, my butt. And guess what? I lived in Oklahoma for 6 years. I can't stand OU. I love when they lose. I love it.
I dated a girl long before my wife. Okay, this is back in like 2004. She lived in Yukon, Oklahoma, which is right.
I know exactly what
Oklahoma City. Yeah. And her family, diehard OU fans, they gave me a hard time. And this was back when we didn't have DMAC yet. OU was filling it. They just beaten Arkansas a couple of years before in that bowl game and won the championship the year before that, won the Natty. And I'm going to tell you, those people, oh man,
obnoxious.
It's rough. Not all of them. There's some. I've got good friends of mine that are OU fans that honestly they're kind of 50-50 OU or 60-40 OU Arkansas fans. You do have those folks, but for the most part, they had a right to brag and a right at the time because they were very good at football and.
Peterson, all those years, yeah, I remember them. White is a quarterback. Yeah, they had some. They had some. They had some teams.
Dan Tanner. OU fans are the worst.
So I'm telling you, OU fans are definitely they're bad. It's just we're gonna start getting a taste of it soon. We're gonna really get a real taste. See, I remember the experience.
My dad went to that game when they played Oklahoma. And he was like, I've never had. Shout out to Arky56 if he's in chat. He'll tell you. He's been to bowl games. He's been to, plenty of SEC games. He's been on buses with other opposing fans. And he said he's never experienced anything like that. He said, OU, it's just crazy.
They're rambunctious and Papa Ty, You see what Luke said? He said, if you hate them, it's a rivalry. You don't know why Hog fans can't embrace it. Well, I don't hate Missouri. That's the thing, my man, Uncle Luke.
Like that.
I don't hate Missouri. I can give a hoo-nanny. I'm not cursing right now. I don't give a damn about no Missouri. I don't care about them. So, who are they? They're just some team that we played that wear gold and black. It's very strugg life when I look at Missouri. Seriously, I have no feelings about them. I don't. Well, I dislike Duke and North Carolina more than them.
I stated again, when you're around those fans, when you're around those people. A good example, worked with a guy years ago who's a diehard FSU fan. He's not from Florida, but he loves Florida State, and he will tell you Arkansas fans are the worst. He used to say that all the time in the break room, like Arkansas fans are the worst because he's near us. He's got to deal with it, right? So that's where my hatred is for Mizzou. I can't stand, although it's funny when you go to somewhere like Silver Dollar City, when you go to Branson and there's Arkansas plates and Arkansas stickers everywhere, you know.
In Missouri, right? That's crazy.
Missouri and Branson, I think that's hilarious that we take that town over, but I hate that they get our money, though. I don't like that. Along with some other stuff that you can only buy from Missouri recreationally and not in Arkansas yet. Wink, wink.
Well, I don't have that problem where I'm at, actually. You know what? You said something, and it's kind of true. You know, we are kind of bad. Arkansas fans are bad. We're bad.
They are.
We fly off the handle. We feel like the redheaded stepchild. Everybody's cheating us. The world is against us. ESPN hates us. But some of it has got a little undertone to it. But, man, we really, perpetuate all those things.
Arkansas,
Texas is the true rivalry. For me, Texas is much because I grew up in the Southwest Conference days.
Yeah.
That was my rivalry. I will never like Texas. Matter of fact, if Texas and Alabama plays, I wish they would finish as a tie game so nobody would win.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, because us hogs is hurt, says Wild. Yeah. No, they are. I think hog fan. That's what I love about the fan base, though, is they're just rabid about the Razorbacks. That's the thing. Listen, when I started this channel, God, 20 whatever year, 17, I did it because I was a fan. I mean, I'm born and raised in Fayetteville, Washington Regional, OG 501. What's up, baby? Before we became 479. This is my home, of course.
See, I'm an old 501 boy. I'm an old 501 boy.
So of course I started this channel with the idea of talking about the Razorbacks, and it blossomed into something crazy. And I think that's because how diehard hog fans are. I'm not able to do this. I don't think this channel would have any success if I covered Missouri or if I covered, Oklahoma State or whatever. Name some.
They don't have the same passion. Just look at Sports Live Reaction. Kentucky and us drove his channel because we're passionate. We're a passionate fan base. We drive numbers.
Kentucky basketball fans are diehard. I mean, I think they probably match just about anybody in the country. UNC basketball fan. I mean, basically wherever you look at a blue blood, like Ohio State football fans on Twitter are just the worst. There's the
I don't even see them. They blinders. I don't see them. I see Alabama fans. They be coming at me. They be doing me dirty. Talking about I had one had at the football season had me had the pig roasting, sitting there with the fire. I'm like, yo, why you doing me like this? Leave me alone, because I can't fight back. My team ain't fighting back. I can't fight back.
Yeah.
Do you know? Did you know the last time we beat Alabama, Bringing Sexy Back was the #1 song in football?
God, that's nuts.
Do you know LeBron had not been to a finals yet? It was the first season before he was going to go to his first finals.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's right. The last time we beat Alabama in football.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
I used to have it pinned on my Twitter, like all the things that was going on. Matter of fact, the most popular phone was the
Razor, Motorola Razor, right?
Yep. That was one of the Razor, and there was another, the Sidekick 2.
Oh, that was the phone that
where you can flip out, you can text. Yep.
I remember that phone. Yeah. I remember that.
That's a long time, bro.
That is crazy. Bradley Dixon says I was at the Orange Bowl when Brian Bosworth was out for violations, and they were out. Way back then. Bosworth was yelling at Hog fans from the sidelines. That's funny.
No surprise. Brad.
My dad got to watch Miami and Arkansas play in the 80s. It was embarrassing. Said he left at halftime. Don't ask me which one. He went to one of them because they played twice. If I remember right.
Was it the early 80s? Was it with Schellenberger or was it with Jimmy?
Jimmy was there. Yeah. It would have been when Jimmy was there. So whatever.
So that's 83, 84.
Down there, right? Wasn't that when we went down to Miami and got destroyed? Or did they do that here?
I'm trying to remember it. Is that eight? I think it's in between eight. I'm gonna say 84 to 86. One of those in between those years, because I can't remember off the top. I'm getting old, man.
Did I work for Trey? No, I never worked for Trey. Nope. Worked with Hogville. I helped them start up their YouTube channel, their show. Never worked for Trey. Yeah, Arkansas, the whole state used to be 501.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what year they split up, but yeah, the whole state used
It was after I left, because I left Arkansas in 1990 and I moved to Oklahoma. I lived in the Northwest Oklahoma City.
Oof.
All Sooner fans.
Someone was asking for the call-in link. I shared it. If you guys, I don't know who that was.
Yeah, y'all tired of seeing my ugly face? Listen, somebody else call back in. Somebody call in.
Someone asked for the link, and I've shared it twice since then. Really, Ty? What did I do? What did I do? I never knew that. You didn't know I worked it. Really? Yeah, I started there. Well, I took their channel when they had 84 subs, and they got a hold of me and they wanted me to help them build up their channel. And I did it for football, and that was really it. I wasn't there for very long.
It wasn't that long. I was like, man, he went back independent fast.
Yeah, I went back quick. I was just really there to kind of start their channel off. I think within like 4 months, we got it over 1,100 subs, I think, within about 4 months. So it went from 84 subs, because I took it on as a challenge. I was like, no, I got to get them over 1,000 at least before. It was quicker than I thought I would get there, but we did get there pretty quick. I got the privilege to watch Marcus Monk in high school. Dang. Okay. So you're about my age then, Johnny.
You guess who my brother played football with?
Where are you from? You're from?
I'm from Little Rock. I was born in Little Rock. My brother played with Keith Jackson at one time. But Keith Jackson was a little older. You remember Keith Jackson? He used to play for the Eagles?
Yeah.
You remember? Okay, I went to school with Torrey Hunter in Pine Bluff. We used to play baseball together. We used to play, but he was a little bit younger than me. I think, but no, he was a little older than me. I think by a year or two. We used to play baseball.
These youngins don't know who that is. Some of these youngins have no idea who Torrey Hunter is.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
His brother was better than him.
I think I've heard that before. I think, and didn't he have a cousin who played at Arkansas? I swear, he had a cousin.
You remember Malik Shabazz? What's his name? Shabazz? No, Shabazz.
Oh yeah, that's all I ever heard about growing up.
He was the beast, but he signed with the Cardinals and he got that little bit of money and he got lazy and then got hurt. My brother went to high school together. See, that's when I was in Pine Bluff in those days.
Wow, that's crazy.
I know.
You ask anyone over the age of about 40, 45 up here that's in, even some of the younger media guys.
Anybody 40 or above.
We'll know who
he was a legend. He was a legend.
I ever grew up hearing about was Shabazz. I mean, I had uncles that drove to go watch him play. And I think the closest to live up to, to have that kind of hype was probably Mitch Mustaine in terms of hype. I'm not talking about anything else. Mitch was,
he was a 3-sport star, though. That's the reason why he did everything great.
Yeah.
He's a legend, man.
You could pull up stuff on YouTube. You could find it. I found one video.
I found a little bit. Yeah, I found a little bit of that, but yeah, man, I just had memories, man. I just remember, I was pretty good at baseball, but you know why I couldn't be able to play baseball? Because I never had a glove for a lefty. I always would catch with the glove on my left hand, take the glove off, and throw the ball. So I never learned how to catch the ball right with my right hand.
Oh yeah,
I'm a lefty, but we used to play baseball all the time.
Yeah.
I wish you could cover baseball. I wish there was more fans that was into it, because our baseball team is really, really good, man. They're a really good team.
It's crazy how good they are. Uncle Luke says I played with Sean Andrews. Dang.
Oh, yeah, man.
The only claim to fame I really have is probably playing with at Fayetteville, Michael Brizell, who went on to Colorado State. I don't think Arkansas offered him. I don't remember. how all that went down. He played at Colorado State, and then he went in the NFL and played. I mean, he started, I think, for the Texans, and I mean, that was wild. Of course, we had the Clark brothers at quarterback. But that's about Ronnie Brewer. Okay, Ronnie Brewer was a year ahead of me. Of course, he played basketball, legend at Fayetteville.
Legend, super legend. The Brewer family's royalty, you know.
They are, man. Wherever they go. I mean, I used to get, when I first started this channel, I used to get text messages. Oh, I just saw Brewer's dad. It's whatever. Or I just saw Ronnie. He just walked in here or there. Like, oh, all right, cool. Oh, you got to get him on the show. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if he'd want to spend time with me. Oh, we got Pat on the line. What's up, Pat? Did it work? Did it go through? What's going on, man? What do you got?
Hey, what's up? What's up, Ty? I'm Bias. What's going on, fellas?
What's up, man?
Yeah,
we went way off the rails like 10 minutes ago, just kind of carrying on.
No problem, man. I was in the garage doing some work, of course I kind of checked out on the game, but the one thing about now is always time to look forward. And so I just want to weigh in and say, like, I think one key for Musk next season is he needs to slow his roll in the portal. I did see something earlier where they were saying that he was going to go super hard and go all in, but it's like, that's what you've been doing, bro. And it seemed like each year Musk was more in a competition to make the splash, because early in the transfer, when the transfer portal opens, it's always like, Arkansas is doing this, Arkansas is cleaning up, Arkansas is signing all these players. But I think like last year in particular, where he kind of went wrong is he was just grabbing the first guy to come along, as opposed to more strategically looking to fill the needs. Now, he was looking for shooters, so I understand, he was trying to get shooters, but like the first guy he signed was Minifield. And I said at the time when he signed Minifield, like, he's not an SEC guard. And then a lot of the, the media heads here in Arkansas was like, oh, yeah, he's a great defender. And I saw a podcast of the guys that were covering him out in Washington and said that, no, he wasn't. He was a defensive liability. He could score, but at 6'1", and, whatever he weighs, it's like, no, that's not an SEC body. That's not going to get it cut. That's not going to cut it in the SEC. And once he got in the SEC play, we saw that. And we saw it again today with a team like South Carolina. Their coach, he came in and rebuilt that roster, but he's got horses, all on that front line. Even their guards are big body SEC type bodies. And I think that's why he was able to come in and kind of make a little splash this year. Whereas like, Musk came, we had Brazil. I think Brazil is super talented, and hopefully he can make it in the NBA, but he's still frail and he was coming off an injury. Mikael Mitchell started off by saying he wanted to come back to Arkansas. But, at that time we were in the hunt for what's the 5-star guy that was coming out of Texas, Ron Holland.
Holland, yeah.
And we were also after the guy that ended up in Alabama. And those two were kind of out there, and we were thinking we were going to get them. And so Musk kind of nudged Mikael out the door. Now he's helped ULR. I'm not sure, did ULR win that tournament?
No,
they lost.
No, they lost to Morehead State.
Yeah, but when Mikael came on that team, he was a big factor in helping them make that run. That they had and win their conference. And if you think about how this year turned out in Arkansas, Mikael was exactly what we need. Makai, started taking off down the stretch, and he did develop. I know some guys try to say, Musk can't develop talent and stuff like that. But, I always said Jalen Williams was a good example of Musk being able to develop talent. And you can see it this year in Makai. His free throw shooting, his ability to score, when they started running the pick and roll with him, and in Musk's offense, that is something that he needed, is a big man who could run the pick and roll, stretch a little bit. And whereas, Brazil is more of just a spot up guy. He wasn't comfortable in that role. And so, if we would have had Mikael along with Makai, we basically had a clone of our best big man. And we wouldn't have, been in some of the situations we were in. But Musk ran him off. He ran I know some people gonna say, oh no, he didn't run him off. Yes, he did. Darian Ford. Another guy, he announced coming in on a horse. I'm coming back to Fayetteville. We pushed him on out the door for who? Minifield? And I think, losing some of that continuity kind of cost us this year. And so I'm hoping that next year when Musk gets in the portal, it's like you built up enough clout at Arkansas that you can strategically get guys.
Yeah.
I know we're not going to have that, that big of a, recruiting class coming in, and that's a whole nother subject. But, we can do what we need to do in the portal, but Musk has to be strategic. And one more thing on the thing about the size of the players. When we lost to Baylor in Musk's first tournament run, Musk came back saying, oh, yeah, I see what we need to compete now. We got to get bigger guards and bigger guys up front. Then we lost to Duke. He said the same thing. But for whatever reason, in this class he came back with, that size didn't materialize.
Yeah.
And I think that was a big factor in this group being, a little bit soft. You know what I mean?
I know it's easy right now to pick apart, and you're right. Everything you just brought up, man, I don't think I can disagree with any of it. You think he pulled the trigger too quick on these guys, but he did say he wanted shooters, and he did say he wanted guys who could score the ball, and that is what he went out and got.
Right.
I mean, Mark and Battle.
He hit with Battle for sure, and Mark too. I mean, one of the big mysteries about this season to me is like, what in the world happened to Mark and Devo defensively?
Oh my gosh!
I thought when we teamed them two guys up, at the defensive wings, we were going to have the lockdown defense that Musk dreamed about when he first came here.
Yep. And
for some reason, both guys, and one of the things I say about Devo as far as his defensive play, I mean, am I the only one that noticed this? Like, it seemed like he was dragging his leg, obviously, like he had a groin injury or something, to where the way he moved defensively was a little different than he was before. Now, that's just an observation. I don't know. Of course, nobody ever said anything about an injury or something that was slowing him down, but he just wasn't the same defensive player that he's been in the past. And, and Mark played under Kelvin Sampson. And, other than, when he had that fall, he was healthy. But both those guys were just getting ran by all season. And I really just don't have an explanation for that.
I don't either, because we all know what he's known for down at Houston. I mean, it's defense, baby. I mean, that's the name of the game. And that's what I thought. Now they got a two-way player on the floor in Mark. Is what I thought. Didn't materialize, didn't happen. It was the opposite. He became our only legit scorer before Battle started to flourish. But yeah, I don't know. That's what makes this year so baffling, right? Is that maybe he did actually go out and get some scores, or at least when you watch the way Battle, the way down the stretch how he played, maybe he did go out and get some scores and a guy that could get to the free throw line, which is what he did at Temple. But he did that, and we saw his game actually translate onto the floor here, but nobody else. And he had to rely on guys that were here before. He had to rely on, Mitchell, anyways, at times, Tremont Mark. But again, we didn't get that two-way player out of Mark. And I was head over heels about Mark. I remember talking with Blake Lovell about, like, I think that's going to be the dude. I got to push back a little bit on Minifield. I do think, he was a true sophomore. He got thrown into the mix almost basically halfway into the season, or right before conference play. I think he is someone who I think you can either try to build around, you know what I mean? Like, just get him some bigger, physical, better defenders, whether it be out in the perimeter, in the paint, and maybe he's going to be a little bit of a liability on defense, and he was, and I understand why Muss took his minutes away. I get it. But he at times looked the part of a point guard, and I think had the best stretch, the best run, while it was short, of any point guard Arkansas played this year. Now, Ellis came into his own later on in the year, but I still don't – I don't know, man. If they could develop him, you can't fix his size unless he hits a growth spurt. That's not anything.
You can bulk him up, put a little weight on him.
You can bulk him up. You can put some meat on his bones. Yeah, you could certainly do that.
But the thing,
10, 15 pounds.
It was he had that one good game, I think, in the last non-conference game. He put up 31. Then he had some double-figure scoring games, once he got in the SEC play. But not only defensively, but on offense. I think one of the things that really hurt his playing time was his turnovers.
Yeah.
And I think that's related to his lack of physicality, because in the SEC, you're going to be going up against 6'6", 6'5" guards built like, free safeties and small linebackers and stuff like that. And if you can't, get around those guys, because you definitely – and these guys are athletic enough that you're not going to necessarily blow by them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're long, they're athletic, they're thick. And if you can't body up with them guys, say, for example, like a guy like Ford, give him that time to develop.
That's true.
You're going to have an SEC guard by the time he's a senior.
I agree with that.
Now, whether Minifield can develop into that, yeah, we'll see. But I think he's going to end up transferring.
Yeah, I think he's gone. I think he's moving on. And I liked what little bit we saw out of him. I think his best game he had, it was UNC Wilmington, wasn't it? When he had, I don't know, something like 6 assists. That was his game where he went for 30, if I remember right. He went off. He went off.
Who did you say you think is gone?
Minifield. Yeah, I think he's
okay. Now check this out. He got exposed in the Florida game. That's where it started right there. The Florida guards really battered him.
But he only played like 3 or 4 minutes in that game.
He played like yeah, true. No, but he got abused fast. But I think the key component to the season, not the Grant Nelson, not the Hunter Mickelson and all that. The key thing that cost us when we had to get Harris, because we lost that on guess who?
Oh yeah,
BJ Mack.
Yeah,
who plays for South Carolina. It was between us and South Carolina. He chose South Carolina. We was in the running for BJ Mack.
Was he a transfer? What did he transfer from?
Can't remember what school. But it was between us. It was like 3 schools, and we was one of the 3, and he chose South Carolina.
Yeah.
We was trying to get BJ Mack at the end. BJ Mack would have been a big difference for this team, and that's why we got Harris.
He picked SC over Arkansas, and wasn't the other one like Tennessee or is someone big? Not Kentucky, but there's another big.
Yeah, it was another big team, but I thought we was going to get him for a hot second. I remember I was following him on Twitter because I thought we was going to get him, and then I had to unfollow him. Like, oh, you went to South Carolina, you dirty dog, you.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope Muss is back, because I do think that example there, him losing out on the Texas kid, I think he's learned a little bit. I hope he doesn't let his ego get in the way. I do think he's got a little bit of an ego, but you know what? Sometimes that builds these guys, Some guys that's just the way they are, and they work with it, and they're successful because not just because of their ego, but everything that kind of comes along with that. And he kind of strikes me as someone who has that a little bit of the Bobby Petrino. If I could be blunt, it's apples and oranges, basketball and football, but I feel like he's got that kind of mentality. He eats, breathes, and sleeps this game. And I think because of that, we've seen him, if he can fix, we saw those February, March runs that he went on, especially in March into obviously not the SEC tournament, but in the NCAA tournament. If he can do that in a season, what's to say he can't fix what has been a big problem with this team, all the issues that they have? Who's to say he can't do that in the offseason with the portal? I know there's questions about what's going on with the NIL. There's not a lot of transparency there. I've got so many issues with all that. It'd make a whole other damn show. But I look, he had a top 8 transfer class. He had a top 8 transfer class.
But he went quantity, though. He went heavy in quantity, and he did it too soon. He should have been a little more patient. Because remember, we came out just grabbing people, bang, 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 bang. It looked good on paper. But it just didn't translate for us.
Well, it didn't translate, but that's what happens. I mean, you could do the same thing with recruiting. I mean, we see it all the time in football, and basketball. You grab guys who you think you can develop. It used to be that way. You develop them over a course of a couple of seasons, and then whatever happens. Bobby Portis was a real good example of that. He definitely benefited, but you roll that dice no matter what when you bring in new faces, and that's the name of the game now. I don't know that I want anybody else doing that other than Musselman. I'm not saying he's the only guy. He was certainly one of the first ones to really utilize the portal, and he had an advantage. But you know what? It's not like last year when they went on that Sweet 16 run that all of a sudden people, like, they hadn't discovered the portal yet. I mean, and even his first year when he got into the portal, it's not like he was the very first one to send out offers into the portal. Must just did a better job of grabbing the valuable players. You talk about like a Mude and Justin Smith and those guys.
Well,
I think you can do it again. I really do.
Right, and that's my silver lining to this. Because it's one thing to point to what Musk did in the past, and to me, he earned it on that alone. In terms of more time.
Yeah,
but the development I saw out of, I'll say this now, Battle, I think, was just a matter of playing time. If Musk wouldn't have been jerking around with him like he do all the rest of the guys, and I think that's one thing I hope he sort of learns to correct going forward is that quick hook tendency. Don't try to manipulate guys so much with playing time. If they put in that work and earn that playing time in practice, trust them in the game.
He does not trust his players.
Yeah, I mean, just that one. You get in there with one mistake, you just cannot play basketball like that.
Yeah. But the problem is, if he don't trust him, they're not going to trust themselves when they get the crunch time when it's lunchtime. He trusted those first two, those 2 years. Because the thing is, last year we could say he did a bad job, but I don't necessarily say that because it was an extenuating circumstance. It was a difficult. It was some difficulties. But those two Elite Eight teams, man, they were just built different.
They were.
They just moved different.
No, think about it, guys. They started out struggling too. All 3 of those teams. There were shaking moments where those seasons could have went left too. The difference was they gelled together, and guys' development came along at the right time. A role player stepped up here and there. They gelled as a team and then went on a run. This team could have been the same way. Now, I do fault the leadership, and again, I really don't want to, beat up on Devo because I like Devo. And to me, Devo, his legacy with Arkansas, he deserved a pass just like Musk, as far as I'm concerned. But Devo was the leader. But Devo really, he had that diva complex coming back. I think he thought, well, this is my team. I'm the guy. I'm not the freshman coming up, and now it's my team. And he had a lot of knuckleheaded diva tendencies, and that from your leadership is bad. And then Brazil also was the other big guy coming back that we were depending on to sort of set the tone and lead for this team. And they both, kind of a little shaky on those elements. And I think and then the whole thing with Musk throwing, too many guys at the same position, all competing for playing time on a high profile team, and that whole diva complex sort of, and with Musk's quick triggering thing, pulling guys out of the game, it just killed the chemistry, and they never pulled it together until it was too late. But the thing, and this is what I was going to say originally, Musk proved to me he still has it when it comes to developing players. Because if you see what happened to Makai these last few games, that tells me them guys didn't quit. Even when the season was over, Makai, Battle, and some of those guys were still, you can tell they were still grinding it out with Musk. It wasn't like they was coming back next year.
Yeah.
They just were committed to working on their craft, and they developed. It was just too late.
And Mitchell hung in there. I mean, he hung in there. He was losing minutes, if you guys remember. I mean, he wasn't getting a lot of minutes early on. And he got his minutes back, and he got back on the floor, and he bought in. And he ended up being, a pivotal player down the stretch, even though it didn't matter. And he knew that. Like you said, he's stuck around. Why did he go after Dennis J. Harris? This is a question I think everyone probably wants to know. I don't know.
I think at that point he was just trying to get
a body. But the thing is, though, he should have kept the other twin instead of in the words of OD, that's Bob Marley.
But the thing was, like you said, man, it's like Mikal had declared he wanted to come back. His brother's there. He had as much talent as anybody, and it's like, okay, if you think you're going to get Ron Holland or Grant Nelson or somebody, wait until you have them in hand. Yeah. Don't just force the guy out thinking you might get them. Once they declare, and then you sit down with Mikal and say, hey, man, you know what? Darren Walker got you there at ULR, but until those guys are signed, do not push those guys out the door. That's a mistake.
Yeah,
on the low, we missed a lot of people on the low. You think about all the players that we missed on, and then the players that we let go. Because right now, him and Darren Ford, I wish those two guys was on the team this year. I think it would have been a different team if those two guys was on the team.
Yeah, and even the year before, they did the same thing with JD Notae. If JD Notae was on that team that beat Kansas with Jalen and them, with Jalen's last year, if they had JD Notae, that was a Final Four team.
No, JD Notae was done though. JD Notae was
no. JD had another year.
JD made the decision he was going to leave.
He had that super class coming in with Nick Smith and all them. Must felt like, hey, I'm gonna move on from JD.
I think you're wrong about that. I think that was a JD decision.
Timeline. I followed that closely. And I felt like it wasn't, it was all kind of, just like these situations behind closed doors. It wasn't no official announcements or anything. But if you go back and look at the timeline of everything, they nudged JD on out, with the thing, well, hey, JD, maybe you can make it in the NBA or whatever. But he still had another year. And if he had made it clear to JD, hey, man, we need you back. I know we got Nick and all these guys coming in, but we're going to need you as a senior, as an established guy who knows the system that can teach these guys and bring them along. That would have made that much more difference in getting that team over the hump into the Final Four, I believe. But,
Woulda, coulda, shoulda, man. I mean, that's...
Yep. If was a fifth, we all be what?
Hey, we be on one. We be...
I don't know. I think right now I've just kind of transitioned into I just want to make sure he comes back. And then we pay attention to
we take it from there.
I know you got the connections and everything. Now, do you really think Muss is gonna leave? Or is he considering it?
I said, listen, I don't Blake Lovell, who I mentioned earlier, is as dialed in as anybody. I've had conversations with him. He had heard that that there was at least interest from Louisville to acquire Musselman. Now, obviously, he's not, and you guys, Blake Lovell, he's a friend of the show. We've had him on multiple times.
I love Southeastern 14.
He came on here and said that openly, so I can say that. I can say that. I don't talk about the stuff we mentioned in DMs, but that was the last I'd heard about any of it. And Blake felt like there was some legitimacy to it.
Yeah, I know Aaron Torres reported that the other day too.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, those guys are more dialed in than I am, and I rub elbows when I can and where I can. I got to pick and choose my battles. It used to be football recruiting, and now it's well, what are they doing in the portal? What's going on? And
what about on the Arkansas side? Even coming into the season, it was kind of like, hey, y'all need to give Muss an extension.
I don't.
So that's on your check, man. If he wants to keep him, then go and pay him and, lock him up and show your commitment to him.
Yeah. There's concern now. I had a text from someone. Now, this isn't anyone like plugged in, but I did have an interesting text from someone who pointed out that AD or Hunter Yurchek might be the target for another job. And I'm trying to scroll up and find it. I don't remember who the job was. Nebraska. Nebraska could make a run at Hunter Yurchek, it seems. Their AD left for A&M. So I don't know, man. I mean, you know how all this you know how this goes. I mean, we hear
musical chairs.
It is.
Well, you know what?
And them got too much money. They are just stupid.
That's that oil money. But listen, I'm about to get ready to go, guys. So I'm just gonna put myself in the portal right now.
Well, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate both of you guys calling in. I'm gonna close this thing out. You guys are awesome.
Thanks,
you both you guys, I appreciate you always calling in. I will be live tomorrow, by the way. We're gonna break down more spring camp stuff. Saw some exciting things today at camp. Take it all with a grain of salt because it's spring camp, but they wore full pads today. They were full speed, full pads, full in. Petrino yelling with that Montana accent. It's kind of funny. We giggle on the sidelines when he gets going. But yeah, I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. Got some exciting stuff. Might even have some highlights, hopefully, if I can get this to
I'm going to be listening, but I got a feeling you were excited about the offense.
I'll let you know tomorrow. I'll give you guys an update tomorrow on all that.
Deal. I'll be tuned in.
All right, fellas. I appreciate
you now.
Shout out to Pat and Brim as always for calling in. I appreciate those guys. Anybody who calls in. Yeah, tomorrow I will do a live, assuming I don't think we have another storm rolling through, do we? Assuming I can. Yeah, I think we're good. I don't think there's any rain in the forecast. It was lightning there for a minute or thundering. I thought, oh boy, we're gonna get disconnected. But again, yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna give you my again. It's gonna be like another update, but there is some stuff to talk about because now we finally had full pads, and that changes things in terms of like what you're seeing, what's going on. Like it kind of gives you a better idea of what's happening, who is rotating in at quarterback. Some of it's already out there, but I'll give you my take on it, what I saw. So yeah, there's some good, there's some not good. Yeah, but you have to take it all with a grain of salt because it is just, I mean, we just started spring camp. I say that we're almost halfway through it. So yeah, I will be back tomorrow. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that way you're alerted as soon as I go live. Shout out to all the callers. I appreciate you guys. Shout out to Judd, who caught a lot of crap in Discord. He always does, but he calls in and takes some kahunas to get timed out in Discord than to call into the show. So appreciate him for doing that. I will see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Thank God basketball is over. Arkansas. I don't even want to talk about the NITs or whatever's going on there. I don't care. We're all in on spring football. Missouri and Arkansas square off this weekend, 3-game series. I'm going to take Arkansas to sweep that series. I'm just going to throw it out there. All right. I will see you guys tomorrow. You guys behave yourselves or don't, whatever. Just make sure you're here tomorrow.